Imagine a life where every interaction, every challenge, and every opportunity felt not like a struggle but like a game you instinctively knew how to win. What if you possessed a secret framework for understanding people, situations, and even your own reactions, allowing you to navigate the world with an uncommon ease and influence? Dale Carnegie, the legendary master of human relations, taught us that true success isn't about innate talent, but about mastering fundamental principles that unlock genuine connection and effectiveness. Today, we're going to dive deep into these timeless insights, revealing how to decode the hidden patterns that govern our lives and interactions. From the subtle shifts in your daily habits to the grand cycles of your personal journey, understanding these patterns is the key to unlocking profound breakthroughs in your relationships, your career, and your overall happiness. Stay with us until the very end, because the wisdom we're about to share isn't just theory. It's a practical roadmap to a more empowered and fulfilling existence. And if you find value in this journey, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel, so you never miss out on the strategies that can truly transform your life. The power of affirmation. Consider for a moment how frequently we've been conditioned to say no. From childhood, we're taught to avoid risks, to be cautious, to shut down possibilities before they fully materialize. But what if we were to consciously, deliberately train ourselves to say yes? This isn't merely about agreement, it's about a fundamental shift in our internal state, a profound reorientation of our physiology and mindset. Dale Carnegie, in his timeless teachings, often emphasized the importance of a positive mental attitude. When we say yes to an opportunity, to a challenge, or even to a simple invitation, our body responds. Think about a moment when you felt explosively excited about something, a new idea, a thrilling prospect, a joyful reunion. Did your shoulders slump, or did your chest expand? Did your gaze drop, or did your eyes light up and look upward? Invariably, our physical posture elevates. We extend ourselves, mirroring the expansive feeling within. This isn't coincidence, it's a direct physiological manifestation of an affirmative internal state. Conversely, consider someone who constantly feels down or unsure. Their body often collapses inward, their voice may lack conviction, and their eyes may avoid direct contact. This physical manifestation reinforces their internal state, creating a vicious cycle of negativity. Carnegie knew that actions and emotions are inextricably linked. By consciously adopting a yes physiology, standing tall, breathing deeply, looking outward, we can begin to shift our internal landscape. It's not just about what you say, but how you embody that decision. This affirmative posture is not merely superficial. It signals to your subconscious that you are open, ready, and capable. It's an invitation for possibilities to enter your life, breaking down the self-imposed barriers of doubt and hesitation. This proactive physical and mental stance can dramatically alter the trajectory of your experiences, moving you from stagnation to dynamic engagement, from being a passive observer to an active participant in your own life. When you consistently say yes with your whole being, you align yourself with opportunity and cultivate an unshakable inner resilience. The nature of patterns. Everything in the universe, and most certainly within the human experience, unfolds through intricate patterns. From the celestial mechanics of planets orbiting stars to the cyclical rhythm of the seasons, patterns provide structure and predictability. In the realm of human endeavor, every problem that humanity has ever faced and ultimately overcome has been resolved through the recognition, analysis, and modification of existing patterns. This isn't abstract philosophy, it's a fundamental truth about progress. Think of any historical breakthrough. The invention of the wheel, the discovery of electricity, the development of modern medicine. Each represented a profound understanding and utilization of underlying patterns in nature or human behavior. Carnegie's work, particularly his insights on human relations, implicitly underscores the patterned nature of our interactions. He taught that people, despite their individual differences, respond predictably to certain stimuli. A genuine compliment, sincere appreciation, active listening, or the ability to see things from their point of view. These are all recognition of fundamental human patterns. Consider the contrast between those who live in fear and uncertainty, feeling perpetually victimized by circumstances, and the doers, those courageous individuals who actively seek and find solutions. The latter possess a fundamentally different state of being, an attitude rooted in the belief that problems are simply patterns awaiting repatterning. They understand that chaos is often just a pattern not yet recognized. When you internalize this principle, that everything is patterns, you gain immense power. You move beyond merely reacting to events and begin to anticipate, influence, and even shape them. This insight liberates you from the feeling of being a passive recipient of life's whims. Instead, you become an active agent, capable of decoding the underlying structures that govern your experiences. By learning to identify these recurring sequences, you not only reduce stress, but also develop a profound sense of control and foresight. The world, once appearing as a bewildering array of random occurrences, reveals itself as an intricate yet understandable network of interconnected patterns waiting to be mastered. Key skill: pattern recognition. The first and arguably most crucial skill to master in life is pattern recognition. This is not merely about noticing things, it's about discerning the underlying frameworks, the recurring sequences, and the predictable cause and effect relationships that govern events and behaviors. When you develop this acute ability, you transcend the superficial narrative and begin to understand what is truly transpiring beneath the surface. For instance, in human interactions, Carnegie emphasized the importance of understanding people. This means recognizing their motivations, their fears, their desires, all of which manifest as behavioral patterns. A leader who can recognize patterns in team dynamics can anticipate conflicts or leverage strengths before they fully emerge. A salesperson who understands buying patterns can tailor their approach to resonate more effectively with a client's specific needs and psychological tendencies. When you can recognize patterns, you gain an immense advantage. You are no longer easily misled or caught off guard because you comprehend that things tend to happen in predictable ways. This foresight reduces stress and anxiety because you can anticipate potential challenges and opportunities long before they become immediate concerns. Instead of merely reacting to events as they unfold, you can proactively strategize and prepare. Think of a master chess player who sees several moves ahead, not because they are clairvoyant, but because they have internalized countless patterns of play. Similarly, in your personal life, recognizing recurring patterns in your own emotional responses or in the behavior of others empowers you to break cycles that don't serve you. It allows you to identify habits that hinder your progress, or conversely, practices that consistently lead to positive outcomes. This deep understanding transforms chaos into predictability and unpredictability into a canvas for strategic action, providing clarity and confidence in navigating the complexities of life. Key skill: pattern utilization. Once you possess the keen ability to recognize patterns, the second essential skill comes into play: pattern utilization. It's one thing to see the blueprint, it's another entirely to use it to build something magnificent. Once you can accurately identify a pattern, whether in a business trend, a personal relationship, or a complex problem, the world no longer appears as a chaotic jumble of unrelated events. Instead, it transforms into a structured environment where you can apply your understanding to achieve desired outcomes. Dale Carnegie's core philosophy revolved around the practical application of principles to win friends and influence people. This is, in essence, the masterful utilization of human behavioral patterns. He taught that if you want cooperation, you must avoid criticism. If you want influence, you must genuinely appreciate others. If you want agreement, you must help the other person save face. These are all instances of using recognized patterns of human psychology to achieve constructive results. Consider anyone you deem truly masterful in their field: a renowned artist, an innovative director, a visionary scientist, or a highly successful entrepreneur. What elevates them to greatness is not just their intrinsic talent, but their profound understanding that everything operates on patterns and their exceptional ability to leverage these patterns. They don't just notice trends, they capitalize on them. They don't just observe human nature, they engage with it strategically. If you merely react to your emotions without understanding the patterns that trigger them, you will likely remain stuck in reactive cycles. However, once you can utilize the pattern, you can succeed. For example, if you recognize that a certain communication style always leads to conflict, You can consciously choose a different approach. If you identify a pattern of successful negotiation tactics, you can implement them in your own dealings. This proactive engagement with patterns empowers you to move from simply enduring life to actively shaping it, transforming insight into influence and potential into tangible achievement. It's the difference between merely observing the game and becoming a master player. Key skill: pattern creation. Beyond merely recognizing and utilizing existing patterns, the third and highest level of mastery is pattern creation. This is where true innovation, leadership, and personal freedom reside. When you reach this stage, you are no longer limited by what everyone else is doing or by the historical precedents that define your field. Instead, you possess the capacity to conceive and implement entirely new ways of thinking, behaving, and interacting with the world. This is the hallmark of the truly exceptional individuals who redefine industries, inspire movements, and leave an indelible mark on society. Think of the greatest business innovators who didn't just improve existing products, but created entirely new markets. Consider legendary musicians who didn't just play notes, but crafted entirely new genres that resonated deeply with audiences. Michael Jackson, for instance, didn't just perform. He engineered every movement, every sound, every visual to elicit specific emotional responses from his audience. He was a master of pattern creation in performance. A great director understands how camera angles, pacing, and sound design create specific emotional patterns in the viewer. They don't just follow conventions, they invent new cinematic languages. This level of mastery, the ability to create patterns, is what sets apart the extraordinary from the merely competent. It's about building a novel system, a unique approach, or an unprecedented solution. In a personal context, pattern creation means consciously designing your habits, your responses, and even your personal philosophy in a way that serves your highest vision. It's about being the architect of your own life, rather than merely inhabiting a pre-existing structure. This skill empowers you to transcend limitations, to forge new paths where none existed before, and to achieve things that others deem impossible. It transforms you from a follower, or even a successful adapter, into a genuine pioneer, capable of leaving a lasting legacy by shaping the very fabric of reality around you. Redefining personal reactions. We all carry within us a complex web of personal patterns, some of which serve us well, propelling us forward, while others, unfortunately, hinder our growth and happiness. A significant area where these unhelpful patterns manifest is in our emotional reactions, particularly what is often colloquially referred to as being triggered. This term, while popular, can be disempowering because it frames us as passive victims, implying that external stimuli inherently possess the power to control our internal state. However, from the perspective of pattern recognition, being triggered is not an external assault, but rather a deeply ingrained habitual response. It's a pre-programmed reaction to specific tones of voice, particular words, or certain narrative structures. Dale Carnegie's teachings consistently emphasized the profound impact of our attitudes on our outcomes. He understood that while we cannot always control circumstances, we absolutely control our reaction to them. If your life's goal is to prevent others from ever triggering you, you are embarking on a futile quest. The external world is too vast, too unpredictable, and filled with too many variables for you to control every potential stimulus. A far more effective and liberating approach is to rewire your own internal patterns. This means consciously dismantling the habitual responses that no longer serve you and replacing them with empowering ones. For example, if you consistently react with anger to perceived criticism, recognize that this is a pattern. Instead of blaming the critic, ask yourself, what is the underlying belief driving this reaction? How can I choose a different response that preserves my peace and fosters constructive dialogue? This process isn't about ignoring your emotions, it's about gaining mastery over them. It's about understanding that you are not your anger, your fear, or your frustration. These are merely patterns of thought and feeling that you have practiced over time. The good news is that what has been learned can be unlearned and new, more beneficial patterns can be cultivated. By taking responsibility for your reactions and actively choosing to repattern them, you reclaim immense personal freedom. You stop being a puppet to external events and become the conscious director of your internal experience, choosing how you show up in the world, regardless of what's happening around you. This self-mastery is a profound step toward living a life of intentionality and inner peace. The flexibility of beliefs. Our beliefs are far more than mere thoughts. They are foundational patterns that profoundly shape our perception of reality and consequently our actions and results. In essence, beliefs are habitual narratives we've told ourselves so frequently or absorbed so deeply from our environment that they now feel undeniably true. They are mental shortcuts that dictate what we perceive as possible, what we deem desirable, and what we interpret as threat or opportunity. Dale Carnegie often spoke about the power of enthusiasm and confidence, qualities that are deeply rooted in our underlying belief systems. If you believe you are incapable, you will act that way. If you believe you are resourceful, that belief will manifest in your behavior. However, the powerful truth about beliefs is their inherent flexibility. Think back over the last 10 years. Can you recall a belief that you once held with such conviction you might have argued fiercely for it, but which today you might even feel slightly embarrassed to admit you ever believed? Perhaps it was a political stance, a view on a relationship, or an assumption about your own capabilities. This evolution of belief is a testament to the fact that they are not immutable truths carved in stone, but rather dynamic patterns of thought. Even beliefs that you intellectually know are illogical, yet emotionally continue to hold sway, are simply patterns that need re-evaluation. The liberating insight here is that you are not broken. You don't need to be fixed. What needs attention are simply certain patterns of belief that are no longer serving you. It's often easier to change a pattern than to try and fundamentally change who you are, because much of what you perceive as you is, in fact, a collection of ingrained patterns. When you recognize that your beliefs are patterns, you gain the power to consciously examine, challenge, and reformulate them. This process involves questioning the evidence for your current beliefs, seeking new perspectives, and deliberately feeding your mind with information that supports more empowering narratives. This active engagement with your belief patterns allows you to shed self-imposed limitations and embrace a more expansive, empowering view of yourself and your potential. It's a journey of continuous self-discovery and conscious evolution. The cycles of life, personal seasons. Just as ancient civilizations thrived by recognizing and adapting to the predictable patterns of the seasons, our own lives also unfold within profound, predictable cycles. The human journey, much like the agricultural year, has distinct phases, each with its unique characteristics, challenges, and opportunities. Understanding these personal seasons can provide immense clarity and perspective, helping us navigate transitions with greater wisdom and less struggle. The first phase is analogous to spring, approximately ages 0 to 21. This is a time of creation, growth, and intensive learning. Like young shoots, we are largely protected, nourished, and guided. During this period, we absorb foundational knowledge, develop core skills, and are shaped by the values and beliefs imparted by family, educators, and society. Our learning is largely directed by others, teaching us how to think and be in the world. While some may experience difficult springs, for most, it's a period of relative security and preparation, laying the groundwork for what's to come. As we transition, we enter summer, roughly ages 22-42. This is the season of testing, intense work, and profound discovery. It's when we venture out into the world to apply everything we've been taught. In the early stages of this summer, there's often a feeling of invincibility, a boundless optimism that we can achieve anything, become anything. We might envision ourselves reaching the pinnacle of our careers, experiencing myriad relationships, and living an extraordinarily grand life. However, as we engage with the realities of work, relationships, and responsibilities, we quickly discover that life is far more complex than anticipated. This summer period is often characterized by trial and error, by hard lessons learned, and by shedding the idealism of youth. Interestingly, studies often point to this age range as one of the least happy periods for many, precisely because it's a time of intense proving, figuring out who we are, and reconciling youthful ambitions with adult realities. This is where we become the soldiers of society, learning, growing, and solidifying our values through lived experience. The harvest and the wisdom. Following the dynamic summer, we transition into fall, approximately ages 43 to 63, which is the season of reaping and consolidation. If you have diligently planted seeds, nurtured your growth, and persevered through the challenges of your spring and summer, this period often brings a significant harvest. This is typically when individuals reach the peak of their power, influence, and professional fulfillment. The efforts of decades begin to yield substantial rewards, whether in career achievements, financial stability, or deep personal satisfaction. It's a time when accumulated wisdom, experience, and networks truly come into their own. If, however, the spring and summer were marked by inaction, avoidance, or a lack of persistent effort, the fall can indeed be a more challenging period, characterized by regret or unfulfilled potential. Finally, we arrive at winter, approximately ages 64 plus. This is the season of reflection, mentorship, and profound contribution without the need for external validation. In this stage, the focus shifts from accumulating to sharing, from striving to serving. Individuals in their winter often become the storytellers, the revered elders, the wise mentors within their families and communities. They possess a wealth of life experiences that, when shared, can be an invaluable gift to younger generations. The pressure to prove oneself, so dominant in summer, largely dissipates. By this stage, if you haven't cultivated a strong sense of self and purpose, the journey might have been more arduous. However, for those who have navigated the previous seasons well, winter is a time of deep contentment and immense joy, derived from giving back, influencing through wisdom, and simply enjoying the richness of a life well lived without the burden of constant striving or self-affirmation. This holistic view of life's seasons encourages strategic planning and a mindful approach to each stage, preparing us for a fulfilling trajectory. In its essence, mastering life is not merely a product of luck, happenstance, or uncontrollable external forces, but rather the deliberate cultivation of a profound understanding and skillful application of underlying patterns. From the instantaneous physiological shifts when we say yes, to the intricate dances of human interaction, to the grand unfolding of our personal seasons, everything is interconnected by these recurring sequences. By consciously choosing to recognize these patterns, we gain clarity and foresight. By learning to utilize them, we transform insight into tangible results and proactive influence. And by daring to create entirely new patterns, we transcend limitations, innovate beyond convention, and carve out unique paths to greatness and fulfillment. This journey is about reclaiming your power. It's about understanding that you are not a passive recipient of life's events, but an active participant capable of shaping your reality. When you consistently apply the principles of pattern mastery, from managing your reactions and beliefs to strategically navigating the natural cycles of your life, you shift from being a reactor to being a designer. The freedom and profound fulfillment you seek are not found in external circumstances, but in the internal strength derived from mastering these fundamental skills. Embrace the art of patterns, and you will not only navigate the currents of life with greater ease, but also become the conscious architect of a truly extraordinary existence.